Hello everyone. Welcome to my channel, Omzara's Calm. I am Omzara, your host. Today we will be working on a crummy, scrappy belt. And I know that you have crumbs and you have scraps of fabric all over in bags and boxes hidden here and there. We'll take them out today because that's what we're going to work on, and if that's what you would like to do, then stay tuned. Welcome back. And if you're new to my channel, welcome also. So the first thing I did was to get an old fuddy-duddy belt. And this is what I'm going to use as a pattern. And it's measuring about 1.5 inches finished. But we need to add seam allowance, and we need to make sure that if it finishes at 1.5 inch, we're going to double that. So if we multiply that by 2, we get 3 inches in width. And then I'm going to, in my belt, I'm going to add another inch or so along for seam allowance. So do you have an old belt? Is there a belt you can make for your child or your teenage adult, or you know an older parent that you have? I'm sure you do. Well, what you're looking at now is a quilt that I made. It is actually a quilt as you go, but it's made mostly of crumbs and scraps of fabric. This quilt, if you can look, you'll even see the background is black, but different colors of black because I didn't have enough. Along the border is a blue, which I didn't have enough of that. Even the back, which is felt, is pieces of different felt, not felt, it is flannel fabric that I had. Even the batting I pieced together. So I call it my quilt as you go crummy quilt. But this is how it started. I've got all of my crumbs and scraps of fabric, and you want to sew them together. I use a strip of fabric and just kept sewing and sewing until I built up this piece of fabric, which is 3 inches, 5 inches wide by 47 or so inches long. And there you have it. You want to go, if you want to use the size that I'm using, you're welcome, and go by your measurements. So now you get to admire your crumbs, your fabric that you chose. Most of these are from Joann's. A lot of them may be from different types of shirts that I've cut up, but you have the creative license to use what you have. And first of all, I'm going to go ahead and fold in about an inch on each side, and I want to make sure I get my measurement of 3. Sometimes you may fold in a little bit more or a little bit less, but make sure you have your 3 inch. And once you fold it again, you should get your 1.5 inch measurement. Now, guess what else I use that were crumbs? Leftover interfacing. This is Pellon 808. This is fusible interfacing. And I had some strips of this interfacing left over after making bags and handles for bags. And so guess what? I went in my stash and took them out, cut them into 1 inch strips, and inserted them into our belt. There are crumbs of laying around your house. I know you have them. Save your things. Let's keep the landfills free for a while. Um, we can all do our part, right? So I am measuring the fold that's going to go fold down to holding our belt buckle. Whenever I look at this video and I cut that off, it gives me chills because I wish I would have made it a little bit longer. Um, if you use your belt, you know the size of your waist, or you use a belt that someone has, and you'll be right on the money of as far as getting the right size that you need. One thing I do know, you really need to, with the Pelon 808 interfacing and the crumbs that have a lot of seam allowances, you want to give it a really good press and iron and even starch to make it a little stiff there. Now, when I made this particular belt, and you will see other ones that I've made in the on further in the video, I chose certain colors that I wanted to put into this belt, and you can do the same. Or you can just randomly pick in your piles and hidden stashes of crumbs that you know that you have, and you're trying to figure out what should I do with them. So you can pick randomly through. Now you're going to fold in your at 3 inches, and you can mark. I did these two different styles, but I went with the square tip. So you're gonna mark it in with your water soluble pen. You're gonna go ahead and sew around it, and then you want to trim it a little, and then turn it right sides out. And be careful. I'm using scissors. You don't want to mess up your seams. You do want to make sure you turn it out and get that nice stiff tip there for the tip of your belt. And there are many ways you can insert your interfacing where it wouldn't show, even though mine's it does not show, but you could have put it in earlier than the 3 inches. You could have put it in at the 5 inch in the middle, but I hope that everyone is doing well, and I hope you're enjoying this video. I hope that you're having some type of peace to your life, and my prayers are going out for everyone. Okay, so now we're going to work on our belt buckle. Please give yourself enough fold over and seam allowance so that you have enough to work with. I should have gone with 3 inches, and later on I did add another, I guess, 2 or 3 inches to that part, right, that end raw edge right there, because I needed a little bit more. You're going to mark your hole for, I believe, this part of the belt. I want to call it a belt teeth. So I went on and cut a hole, but I'm going to show you how to put a hole for your, these are eyelets. These are eyelets. And who knows the difference between an eyelet and a grommet? I know you know the difference between a rivet and a grommet and an eyelet, but who knows the difference between an eyelet and a grommet? I would love to see your comments um, in the videos below. But you want to make sure, look how I'm doing this. This is a very important part right here. You have to make sure that when you put your grommet on, you want the nicer sides out. But this is how I went about putting my grommet in, which is not a grommet, they're eyelets. I'm sorry, see, I got mixed up. You want to mark your spot. I have a block of wood here, I have a hammer, and I have this orange doohickey. Most sewing machines do come with this. It's like it's a hole puncher. And I made the hole in the belt. As you can see, it's a different color belt that I have, different fabrics, but it does serve the same purpose. Once you have your hole, you're going to go ahead and put your eyelet in. And then this particular eyelet kit came with these little attachments where you hammer down the eyelet. And I believe I did get this at Joann's. But what it does is it allows once you pound down on it, the metal that's there, it curls under, securing the fabric around it. And you only need a couple of poundings there. But when you get the kit, you'll have your the metal things in the circuit, the bottom part there that you use to connect your eyelets on. Doesn't that look nice? Nice and perfect. And that's what we did. You can see this eyelet is a little bit bigger, and you want to make sure another important thing is make sure when you do pick your eyelets that your belt buckle, that little part in the middle, can fit through that eyelet. And you want to make sure when you fold it in the right direction so that the nicer side of the eyelet will show on the outer side of your belt buckle. You can see I had to reposition it around the right way. And I'm sure you can see that belt, the raw edge, you see how such a small section it is? So you know I had to go ahead and add more to that. So once you know the position of your eyelet for the belt buckle, you're going to go ahead and top stitch your belt all the way around, top stitching. A better foot to use would have been the zipper foot. As you can see, I'm going over um, different levels of bulkiness from the crumbs of fabric, and it's sort of difficult with the walking foot because you only have fabric on one side of the teeth. But there you go, you can see the top stitching. It is looking good. So you want to go ahead and top stitch your belt the best way you find fit to do that. Find your crumbs, guys. Find your scraps in your bags and boxes under your bed, in the top of your closet. Get your crumbs. Make several belts. Now, I'm going to do a redo, redo, redo. This is a very important part right here, everybody. This is maybe one of the most difficult parts I had because I just was trying to figure out how to make this. But as you can see in the picture, how our belt loop is, how our grommet is, and I am touching another belt loop. I didn't show you how to make that, but I'm sure you know how to make loops. See the belt loop? I don't know what I had on my fingernail, but so look at how our belt buckle is. We have a belt loop there. we've top stitched our belt, and see where. So as you can see, I had to add another strip of fabric on that back to make it a little bit longer. I am using my zipper foot. Why? Because I can reposition my needle position over more to get closer to the belt loop. Now this is one of the ways to secure your belt loop. There are other ways that where you don't have to sew close to the belt loop. And I am using one hand so that you guys can get a good view of me sewing one-handed on the sewing machine so that you guys can see how I am securing the belt loop to the belt. The belt loop is secure. The belt buckle, I keep saying belt loop. The belt buckle now is secure to the belt. Now I am folding over this section here, and I am making sure that that belt loop does not get sewn down, but we bypass it. And there is our seam allowance I'm folding under. Let's get a better angle of me sewing this down. There you go. And here I am securing this folded piece down. That secures our loop and loop in so that it doesn't, you know, travel down the length of the belt. And then there you have it. You just want to cut your strings, check for strings, and so and you can continue on adding your grommets wherever you need be. And there you have it. Well, don't you love the little specks of blue fabric? Now I wanted to show you another way of securing your belt buckle. I have two loops, one there and the other one up top here. As you can see, how do I explain this? It's not sewn there. It's only being secured by that belt, the belt loop there. But there is the flap that flaps over, and I'm gonna bypass the other loop and then tack it down right there. I hope you can see how I did that. So this belt loop here, it is free. It's free, and it won't travel down the length of the belt, but it's stuck there. So that's another way of securing your belt buckle and belt loop, all of this top portion to your belt. And I want to say these belt buckles I did get from Joann's. I think that the one that's darker is from Joann's. The other one that I laid down, that's from Hobby Lobby. And sometimes they come 2 or 3 in a pack. Now you can vary the size of your belt loop. This one is a little bit thicker. And even your belt, you can see this belt is a little bit thicker. You can see how the belt, you might want to make your belt loop a little bit looser so you won't have that much trouble getting it in. And there you go, guys, as best as I could. Wonderful, scrappy, crummy belt that I know a lot of people would enjoy to have. A grandparent, an older adult, a teenager. They make very good stocking stuffers and graduation gifts. And you have lots of crumbs, so let's use them. I hope you enjoyed the video. I enjoyed it, and I hope you enjoy making